Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5 a.m. Club. And it looks like it's going to be a cracker of a spring day. There's a bit of a breeze blowing. We've got the ferry heading off there to Manly. Don't know which one it is. It's a bit dark to see it here in the early morning light, but it's beautiful. Check out Circular Quay. As I say time and time again, where else in the world can you get off a train and have an uninterrupted view like this one here of and it being a public space? It costs you nothing other than just a train ticket to come up here, but you can just tap your card, come up here, tap it again and get off, and it costs you nothing. Anyway, an awesome day, but let's not get carried away with just the beauty of Sydney. Let's couple it up and indulge in a nice, empowering message. And today I want to take you through a book summary. The book is by Mark Manson, an American, and the title is Everything is F-U-C-K-E-D. Won't say the word, but you get the point. So everything is effed. So a very interesting book. He's written a number of books. He's a smart guy, and he writes on topics which capture people's imagination. And I guess that's probably why he's a very successful author, because he knows how people think, he knows what people thirst for, and he delivers it time and time again. So let's just go through a few of the points in the book and discuss them and see where they lead us. And I guess the objective is, of course, to empower us and to use these sorts of things in our daily lives to make life more meaningful and better, and for us to be able to advise our children and grandchildren and help them navigate their futures. Anyway, I think the first point that Mark Manson makes in this book is that when we avoid pain and when we avoid stress, we become more fragile as people. So the objective in life is not to get through life unscarred, untarnished, unbroken, but to realise that life is tough, that life is F-U-C-K-E-D, to use the vernacular, and to take life on head on, and to basically fight your way through life, as opposed to trying to avoid every aspect or every pain point. And he encourages people to realise that life is tough, and as Malcolm Fraser, the former Prime Minister of Australia, said, life wasn't meant to be easy. And Mark in his book says that we need to actively engage in pain and learn to suffer well. I love that. I absolutely love that. Actively engage in pain, actively engage in life, but learn to suffer well. So as you can see, the onion is being peeled, and we're just going to go through a few more points and see where it leads us. And he suggests that pain is inevitable, but most importantly, the most important point to understand is that suffering is optional. How profound is that? Suffering is optional, but pain is inevitable. So once we accept in our lives that our calling is to suffer, then we don't then spend all our time and energies trying to avoid it and trying to minimize it. Because what Mark says is that there's a separation between what we experience And this is profound. There's a separation with what we experience and how we interpret the experience. How good is that? Once again, pretty powerful stuff. And he also tells us that we've got two types of brain, or two lobes, or two separate personalities in terms of our brain. And he says that we've got a thinking brain and we've got a feeling brain. And we need to understand, and we need to know and be introduced to both of these brains, and to know that they're both working together, and in some ways they're working against each other. But what we need to do is to harness the thinking brain and the feeling brain and make them work together, and to make pain meaningful is to make life meaningful. Really powerful stuff, and it's the sort of stuff that our friends, our family aren't quite aware of, and they're not quite teaching us these things, because a lot of parents, you'll see, a lot of parents spend their whole life or their whole parenthood trying to shelter their children. But at the end of the day, parenthood should be the baseline. It should be our job as parents is to introduce our children to pain and suffering, and to get them to understand that life has pain and suffering, has salt and pepper, has honey and spice, and to let them see that through this pain they can have the option of deciding what it means to them. And once they understand what it means to them, then they've got meaning in their lives, as opposed to what many parents do and rob their children of the opportunity to suffer and to experience life at its most beautiful. Because as we said, it's not the suffering, it's not the pain, it's not the pain that is the problem, it's the meaning that we attach to that pain is what gives us the taste, the beautiful nectar, that taste, that sweetness of life. So Mark also goes on to say that people always mistake what feels good for what is good. So the feeling and what the actuality is up to our interpretation. And he says that we're constantly in a sea of pain. We're constantly swimming, we're constantly meandering and navigating through a sea of pain. And he calls it the hedonistic treadmill. Because if all we're trying to do in life is seek pleasure, then we're on a hedonistic treadmill. We're just walking step after step. We're seeking enjoyment after enjoyment, and after a while it becomes a drug where you get stuck on that treadmill of pleasure, that pleasure treadmill, and you just keep on going through life, and pleasure becomes then has no value, because all you're used to is just one pleasure after the other. And as we've said time and time again, there's only so many cream buns that you can eat before the next cream bun loses its appeal. There's only so many relationships that you can be in before all relationships lose their taste, because not everybody is going to be perfect in every way, and not every relationship is going to lead you to that full satisfaction and ecstasy that we see in life, because we need to experience both pain and pleasure, and we need to, as Mark says, assign pleasures and meaning to pain, because that'll help us grow, because we grow by being uncomfortable, we grow by placing ourselves in positions of discomfort, and we grow by leaning just outside our comfort zone. So if all you're seeking in life are pleasures, then you're always going to be looking for comfort, and by always looking for comfort, you're not going to grow and develop. You're not going to experience a different you, a bigger you, a better you, and your life is going to be pretty mundane and boring, regardless of how much pleasure you have, regardless of how many treasures you're surrounded by. The wow lives just outside your comfort zone. So you need to experience a little bit of pain and know that the sweet spot in life is in that pain area, and you need to grow your threshold of pain in order to taste the honey of life. And Mark finishes off his book with a beautiful saying that freedom comes from imposing limitations on our lives, and the quality of our life is based on the quality of our character, and the quality of our character is determined by the relationship we have to pain. So a wonderful book, some wonderful messages, some wonderful learnings for all of us to embrace and to accept. And I'd like to finish off here and finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay loved, and most importantly, let's take on board some of the learnings from this book. Everything is F-U-C-K-E-D, and to take on Mark Manson's mantra, to embrace pain, but to understand that suffering is optional. Because we are human, we can assign a message, a learning to all the pain that we experience in life and the discomfort, and know that pain and suffering will enable us to grow and develop and will lead us to a better place. And when we look back over our lives, we will indeed learn and appreciate that the worst day of our lives, the toughest day of our lives, the most painful experiences in our lives end up becoming the best day in our lives, because it frees us up. It frees us, it gives us wings, it allows us to grow and develop and become a bit better, bigger, and more awesome version of ourselves. And that's the purpose of our lives, to continue along that path of growth and development, and to assign our own meaning to our suffering, and to welcome and embrace suffering, and to help those around us understand and to use suffering as a lever for them to grow and develop, and those shared experiences that we have in life to become who we are and who we eventually grow into. Take care, everybody. Sasagapao. I love you all, and I look forward to chatting to you again from Jim's 5 a.m. Club tomorrow from a special location with hopefully another empowering and special message. Yasas. Take care. Bye.